I wanted to review with you how to use Excel in order to find probabilities using the norm distribution and norm distribution inverse, along with finding z-scores. To find the z-score that correlates with a probability. Example, find the z-score for the shaded region with a probability of 0.7956. So you go up here to formulas, you want more functions, statistical, and you're going to scroll down. Because this is assumed to be a normal distribution, a standard normal distribution, then we use the ones with the S. And I use the norms inverse. Notice if I scroll over it, it will tell me what it's for. It also lists it here. My probability is 0.7956. I type it in, and this is my corresponding z-score. My StatLab usually wants it to 4 decimal places, so you will want to make sure that you round as needed. Another thing I can do is find the probability that relates to a z-score. If you look at your homework, if we look under our homework that we have, like this example here, where we get the z-score, and then we want to find the probability of that shaded region, then when I'm in Excel, I'm going to go again to more functions, statistical. It's a standard normal, so we use the norm distribution with the S because it's a standard normal. The z-score in that problem was 0.31, so we type that in, and this gives us the probability of those values being below that z-score. The same probability that you would find using the tables. So if it's not a standard normal distribution, then what do we use? Then we're going to use the norm distribution or the norm inverse. I have one more problem to review with you. When doing the homework, if you have a problem here where you have to find the probability between values, okay, then how do we find those probabilities? So let's say we want the probability that z is between negative 1.45 and 2.31. If you think about the picture, then you're looking at the area from the far left and the far right. But since the right value is obviously farther to the right, then that's going to be the larger area. And then you want to subtract off this area from the left to negative 1.45. So what you're doing is you're going to subtract the probability of z equal to 2.31 minus the probability of z equal to negative 1.45. So we go to statistical. It's norms again because it's a standard normal. My z was 2.31. And then now we want the z equal to negative 1.45. And then to find that, you just hit equals this number minus this cell, and this would be your final answer. We can also find x values. So this one tells us that it's normally distributed, which is what we want. Doesn't mean that it's standard though. It gives us the mean and the standard deviation, and it wants us to find the x that corresponds with the probability of 0.9. In other words, if you want to look at it as the x value that separates the top 10% from the bottom. So in order to do that, when you're in Excel, you're just going to use norm distribution and not norm with an S. So my mean is 100, my standard deviation is 15, and it's telling me that my probability is 0.9. So when I go into Excel, again, I go to more functions, statistical, and now with a normal distribution, not a standard normal, just a normal, this is how you would find the probability, and this is how you would find the x. So we click on norm inverse. Notice again, no s. They told us that the probability was 0.9, that the mean was 100, and the standard deviation was 15. And now you have the x value that corresponds to that value. If you have to find the probability that goes with that of a normal distribution, not a standard normal, we can still use those same values we just had, but now I'm going to use normal distribution. Your x value, we'll just do the 120, I'll round it up. It tells you that your mean is 100, that your standard deviation is 15, and for cumulative, you're going to type true. Excel, just like your tables, is cumulative from the left. So you want it to be cumulative. What's the probability that an individual has an IQ less than 120? And you get about 91%. If it's find the probability that x is greater than 120, or that the IQ is greater than 120, now you're looking at the information to the right. Since Excel is cumulative from the left, we use the complement. So first you would find the probability of that normal distribution and subtract it from 1. You can also do equals 1 minus, and then go up and grab the formula, norm distribution, and then type in all your values. And then this would be the area to the right of 120. So again, if I have a normal distribution, this is norm, DIST without the S because it's not a standard normal.